Bond drove Robinson to his favourite beachside diner, which was located within walking distance of his home. Bond was insistent that Robinson should enjoy all hospitality during his relatively fleeting visit and had ample room to spare, plus they could imbibe a drink or two of the house wine. I don't often get the opportunity to entertain anyone from the old days, Bond told Robinson when they were seated at the table, which looked out at the spotless horizon, a diaphanous gauze protecting them from the insect intrusion. Bond didn't add that he hadn't acquired many friends during his service days, which was another reason for this unfamiliar opportunity. There probably aren't too many of us still around, James. That's a morbid thought. Oh, that's not quite what I meant. Maybe not, Charlie, but it's probably true. Robinson lifted his wine glass in a toast while simultaneously nodding to the splendiferous tropical view. I can definitely appreciate why you retired here, James. This isn't the half of it, old friend, Bond said, returning the toast. Plus, the racetrack legacy helped sway my decision. The friendly server arrived, and after some familiar banter, Bond ordered for both of them. Robinson tried once again to contact 007 on his smartphone, but to no avail. More trouble, Charlie? There's always trouble, James, Robinson said and pocketed the phone, his expression pensive, followed by a shrug, because there wasn't anything he could do to affect whatever situation might have occurred anyway. Things never change, huh? Yes, double O's not keeping in touch. Who would think such a thing possible? Robinson concurred, and went on to explain the details of the phone call which he had taken earlier with 007 before losing the connection, and the ice bucket with its condensation slick champagne arrived. Your champagne, sirs, the server announced, and popped the cork with great ceremony, much to Bond's mild amusement. You're honoured, Charlie, Bond said wryly. Normally I have to do all this work myself. The flutes were filled. To good times, James, Robinson said. To the present, Charlie. The liquid was cold and fizzed with bubbles. Now this is something new, Gala Brand exclaimed from behind Bond. Her surprised presence wouldn't have gone undetected by him many years gone by. Who's your handsome friend? Bond drew back his chair and introduced Robinson, beckoning for Gala to be seated at the table, then looked to their server, who knew from the nod what to do. A pleasure, Robinson said. Gala Brand, Bond introduced her to his friend then. Charles is an old friend from out of my murky past. Less of the old, Robinson admonished jokingly. My favourite kind, she said. The server brought a further champagne flute for Gala and laid down cutlery appropriate to the meal. I don't want to intrude. Robinson filled Gala's flute. You're not intruding, my dear. In fact, you're brightening up what might have been a morbid dwelling upon life, which is what old people tend to do in their dotage. Speak for yourself, Charlie, Bond said. I enjoy listening, Gala said. It's nice hearing old people reminisce. Very funny. So, Charles, is the delight of reminiscing with James what brings you to the Bahamas, or something else? Gala asked knowingly. You're a smart young woman, Gala, Robinson offered. The other half of retirement, James. Bond nodded. Gala looked from one to the other, confused, but immediately dismissed the hidden meaning and downed the champagne in one swift motion. Charlie turned up to warn me that an old foe might be on my tracks, Bond explained with a hint of sarcasm in his voice. And now he has a missing agent on his hands too. He caught a warning glance from Robinson. Oh, don't worry about Gala, Charlie. She's not an enemy agent. Why don't you tell the tale of the disappearance of 007? Might be nothing, Robinson said. The meal of lobsters arrived. While they ate, Robinson told Gala about Zhao and 007, with Bond chipping in with the occasional tongue-in-cheek witticism. But, Robinson concluded, 00s regularly break contact while on an assignment, so she might call up any minute with some convoluted explanation about the daring do of a secret agent. Or she might turn up dead, Bond offered. Whereabouts did she disappear? Gala asked offhandedly. Robinson produced his phone and found the photo of the map which 007 had sent earlier that afternoon. Her disembodied finger indicating a highlighted point upon it. Gala could immediately see where it was located and pictured the waters and its nearby islands and atolls in her mind's eye. Anything? Bond asked. Might be nothing, Gala said and pushed back her chair. But give me a moment. Bond and Robinson watched Gala as she walked away from the table. Bond caught the eye of their server and nodded, and they were presented with a second bottle of house wine before their table was cleared of their unfinished plates and utensils and the empty bottle of champagne. I can see why you stay fit, Robinson said with a sly grin. Gala definitely keeps me feeling young, Charlie. Have you got anyone back home? No, I don't even have a pet cat, James. I've never been able to mix work with relationships. Not that I'm complaining. Gala Brand returned to the table, filled up her glass with some of the newly presented chilled wine, and sat back with a smile of satisfaction upon her face. The men waited expectantly while she slowly sipped the beverage. Out with it, Gala, Bond said impatiently. Okay, Gala said. So it's not at all unusual for boats to go missing in these waters without trace. The Bermuda Triangle, Bond said, tongue firmly in cheek, meaning the Bahamas Triangle. Yeah, plenty of novices and show-offs go there, said Gala. It's a cluster of islands and atolls and submerged reefs where, depending on what time of day it is, on how visible they are. It's only in the past 20 years that with improvement in technology, there's become less risk. But that doesn't prevent the occasional accident. In the last 12 months, there has been a percentage increase in these accidents. Ali, the guy at the bar you saw me talking to, said it was an increase of something like 25%. And in light of your investigation, that seems a bit steep to me. Has there been any official search? Robinson asked. Not that I'm aware of, Gala told him. A peek after troughs, Bond added. Pretty much, Gala agreed. Only thing is, 12 months ago saw a doctor purchasing one of the islands. Robinson raised a quizzical eyebrow. There was increased activity initially, Gala said. 3 months of busy traffic, lots of new faces, and then nothing for the past 9 months. Until now, Bond said, looking into his wine glass and thinking about Agent Wei Lin and how wasteful her death was. Unless, could this doctor and his island somehow be responsible? Possibly, Gala said. Certainly a big coincidence if not, Robinson added. And now 007 goes missing there, Bond said ruefully. How come there has been no investigation? No idea, Gala stated. Might be nothing. What's the doctor's name? Bond asked. Gala gave a little laugh before she said, Dr. Shatterhand. Bond and Robinson shared a meaningful glance. Have you seen him? Robinson asked. Bond shook his head. It's a big place. I've heard things, Gala said. Descriptions, all a bit far-fetched if you ask me. Some say he has a bad facial scar. It's like acne gone viral. I also heard he has a mechanical arm, hence the Shatterhand, I guess. But it's become a bit of a joke, although nobody knows which island he owns or what's happened to him and all the initial buzz at that time. Zhao had the diamonds removed from his face, James, Robinson said. And he lost an arm when you thought you'd killed him. Bond laughed as he recalled the events of the Ice Palace and the car chase and Zhao's apparent death. Let me guess, Zhao now has the logo of a jaguar embossed on his forehead. Gala looked at Bond, then Robinson laughed, so she joined in because it was a funny image. So this guy, Gala eventually said. Zhao, Bond prompted. Yeah, this guy Zhao. He has diamonds in his face? That's right, he did have, Bond said. Don't ask. His boss had plastic surgery to change his appearance from Korean to English. If I recall, James, Robinson said, Moon modelled himself upon you. They all laughed once more at the utter lunacy of us all. It's too much of a coincidence to ignore, Charlie, Bond said when the mood had returned to more serious nature. And if this Dr. Shatterhand is Zhao, Robinson said ominously, what has a terrorist like that got planned? He's set himself rather too well for my liking. He's certainly not planning an ice palace, Bond quipped. Are you in danger, James? Gala asked. I mean from this guy. No, Bond said. If he knew I was here already and was out for revenge, I'd be dead. He's up to something much bigger. Big enough to make 2 top agents be killed, Robinson said. What do you make out of this mirage which 007 said she and the others saw? Heat haze, Bond suggested. Is that possible? Sure, Gala said. Happens all the time. Bond stood up and stretched his joints. There's only one way we're going to find out. You got any plans for tomorrow morning, Gala? Gala smiled. I do now. Robinson didn't bother to waste his breath by offering his protest, because he knew to do so would be futile. Before Dr. Shatterhand fell asleep that night, he had purged his mind of all which lay ahead for the next day. He was supremely confident nothing could interfere with the activation and execution of his plans. Guards would be posted up the shoreline during the system outage, while all available power could be diverted to the silo mechanism, except that used for the cloaking and radar jamming systems. Should someone perchance penetrate their invisibility cloak during those few hours after sunrise when his island would be vulnerable, they would be startled to see the island appear from out of apparently nowhere, before one of his faithful guards would eliminate them. The risk was minimal. There would be no slip-ups. It was too late for the world to react to his creation, and Zhao slept soundly in that knowledge.